Now back to Barack Obama's foreign trip. The Democratic presidential hopeful arrives in Paris this morning. Yesterday, he delivered a major speech in Berlin. CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips is there. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Harry. Well, there is a bit of a morning after feeling here in Berlin after what they're calling the Obama show. But if the intent of this trip was to raise Barack Obama's foreign profile, it could hardly have been raised any higher. Barack Obama had two objectives on this, the most public leg of his overseas trip: to demonstrate he could perform on a grand world stage and to show that his hands across the water approach to major issues could work. The stage could not have been bigger. The 200,000-plus crowd confirmed his rock star status, and his more cooperative-sounding rhetoric was what the crowd wanted to hear.
True partnership and true progress requires constant work and sustained sacrifice. They require sharing the burdens of development and diplomacy, of peace and progress. They require allies who will listen to each other, learn from each other, and most of all, trust each other.
This was a speech about tone, not specifics, but mostly it was about showing up and being seen. Being seen too much, according to John McCain, who has complained bitterly about the coverage his opponent has received. McCain's response to Obama's Berlin mega event was to go to a German restaurant in Columbus, Ohio.
I'd love to give a speech in Germany to a political speech or a speech that maybe the German people would be interested in, but I'd much prefer to do it as President of the United States.
Thank you, Berlin.
This trip had its risks, not just the Berlin speech, but the Middle Eastern swing and the Iraq and Afghanistan visits as well. It was a test, one the prevailing view here at least would say he passed. Barack Obama had said before this trip that he was coming overseas to listen, which in politician speak, of course, means to talk. Harry.
Mark Phillips in Berlin this morning. Thank you very much. Joining me now is CBS News senior political correspondent Jeff Greenfield. Good morning, Jeff.
Howdy.
We watch these images over the last 24 hours. 200,000 people out there. He's giving a speech to the people there.
No, he's not.
He's not giving a speech to the 200,000. No. Who's he speaking to?
He's speaking to the American voter. And I think what he's trying to say, one of the messages that I heard was, look, I'm not some woolly-headed liberal lefty that thinks we should all sing Kumbaya together. I'm here to tell them that we need international cooperation to beat the terrorists, to beat the extremists, to win the war in Afghanistan. And there were a lot of other stuff about global warming and human rights.
Right.
But I think for the American voter, he was saying, look, I'm here speaking for our national security interests.
Right.
My metaphor is the wall that Reagan used, not John Kennedy's metaphor.
So interesting.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's what he was up to.
There were a lot of stuff in there about the environment and sort of bones to throw to the audience about nuclear weapons and stuff like that.
I think this was about, I'm here speaking for what we need from Europe.
Very interesting. Yeah. The images, though, are stunning. We'll get to the images in a second. You're John McCain.
Right.
You're eating a bratwurst. You're at a German restaurant.
I thought that
You're trying to make the best of an odd situation at best.
It is, and I think the message coming from Obama's opponents, well, McCain's message is, this is overreaching. I'd rather go there as president. You're not the president yet, and there's a certain theme of arrogance, overreaching that the Republicans are trying to put on Obama. The other thing I think is there's always a danger if the Democrat is seen as Europe's candidate, which happens to be what the National Review, a conservative magazine, put in its website yesterday.
Yes.
You know, he's a brie-eating, Chablis-sipping, snail-eating elitist, not like us guys.
Yeah.
That's always the danger. I do think that after 4 years of the war, an American being cheered in Europe is probably not politically harmful.
Interesting also, though, what's going on. If you look at the polls this week, numbers are very tight, especially in these swing states.
This is what I love about this time of year. You have this obsessive over-covering of every single thing that Obama's doing. Did he pronounce this word right? Did he eat the right food? He made a three-point shot. He's going to win Ohio. Meanwhile, it's July. And what I think is, yes, some of the polls in the battleground states are tightening. An NBC Wall Street Journal poll seemed to show that people have doubts about Obama. They think he's the riskier candidate because they don't know him. So we got to wait a while.
We do have to wait a while. Thanks so much, Jeff. Always a pleasure to see you.